How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, I'm actually discussing, why people buy coaching. And as simple a subject as this might seem on the surface, it's actually a really valuable thing to understand the psychology of why somebody might be interested in paying money to learn from you. Because if you understand the psychology and you understand the sort of mental motivators of a buying decision for information or proximity to an expert, you can build your business around these things and be more profitable, grow quicker, serve people better, handle less objections on the phone. You get significantly less objections on the phone or in your webinars or however it is that you sell. And so in today's video, I'm going to talk about the 3 reasons why people buy coaching, not just based on my opinion, but actually after gathering literally tens of thousands of sales calls for our company, for our students' businesses and everything combined, and looking across all of them and seeing the lessons that we learn from when somebody decides to join a coaching program, whether it's ours or students. This is going to be a really valuable video. Stick around to the end because I think it's going to give you a lot of clarity on how to consistently make more sales for your business. So here on my whiteboard, I've written out the 3 reasons why somebody buys coaching: speed, gap, and certainty. And I'm going to talk about each of these things so that you can figure out how to implement them into your marketing, into your sales calls, and even into your offer creation. So let's first talk about this top one, which is speed. And this one's pretty intuitive. A lot of the time people are buying coaching because they want to arrive somewhere. And a lot of the time they value their time more than they value their money, which isn't true for everybody. But when that is true for somebody, when somebody values their time over their money, and they'd rather not take the time to learn how to do this themselves, and they don't want to spend the years doing that, and they just want to get straight to the meat. They want to get straight to the source, which is a lot of our buyers. Then it's speed. They're speed motivated. They're motivated by speeding up the process so that they can arrive at the end goal with a quicker pace. It's very simple. We can dig into that further, but I think it goes to that explanation that that's probably one of the more common reasons why somebody buys coaching or consulting is speed. And so if you can market speed, you will get more sales. If you look at my YouTube channel and you look at some of the interviews with students, it's like, hey, look at this person who did this amount of revenue in this amount of time. So it's like $80,000 in 30 days or made his first sale in 2 months or whatever it is, right? Speed is one of those things that if you can deliver on, you can then market. And if you can market speed, you will get more sales because people don't want to take time. They just want to spend money to solve their problem. Okay, so that's the first one, which is speed. The second one is gap. And let me explain what gap means because it could mean a lot of things, but it kind of means a few things. And so gap really means that somebody is aware that they aren't where they want to be. They are at a current place that they don't want to be anymore, and they've got a place they'd like to get that they'd like to get with, more certainty, which is the third one. And so they're aware of this gap between where they are now and where they want to get. And they just don't know what they don't know. It's that simple. So a lot of the time, it's hard for somebody to admit that they don't know what they don't know because their ego gets involved. And this is where you can try the marketing technique of I wouldn't know what to call it necessarily, but blaming something that isn't them. For example, somebody who's gotten really popular recently is Andrew Tate, right? And he talks a lot about the Matrix. It's like, oh, the Matrix programming, or oh, the Matrix. He blames the outside force. So he's like, it's not your fault that you're, broke and lazy and fat. It's like the Matrix's fault. And so in this way, you can delegate blame so that people will then be more willing to admit that there's a gap between where they are and where they want to get. Because if you go around telling people, hey, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're just going to be disliked. You need to blame an outside force. And so, for example, I like to blame public education. I think public education is screwing people. This is why my company exists in part. I don't necessarily think that we're going to be the only reason that education decentralizes, but I do have the mission of helping decentralize education through my educational programs, through helping people start and grow successful, profitable, and impactful direct-to-consumer education and coaching businesses, right? And so I think public education is screwing people. I don't think it's working. And so I'm helping people start their own businesses, right? So we've got this other enemy, this other force that gets people to admit that there's a gap. So, for you, let's say you're a health coach, The gap might be they have a lot of weight, but they want to lose the weight. The blame that you place shouldn't be on the person. It should be, oh, society and sugar and mass-produced food, whatever, right? You want them to feel okay and not like you're attacking them for where they are right now, right? Because if they feel that way, the red flag goes up. And one of the key principles of sales that I've learned is once a prospect's red flag goes up, it pretty much never comes back down. So that's the second one, which is gap. You know, getting them to admit that there's a gap between where they are now and where they want to get. And the easiest way to do that is to blame an outside force that makes sense and make a case as to why something outside of them has held them back. And then present the solution to that case, right? Using somebody like Tate, for example, he's got like his programs or whatever. I haven't spent a lot of time looking at the guy, to be completely honest. He's just really popular right now. So I figured I would use him as an example, right? So that's gap. It's they are where they are now. They realize they don't want to be there. They'd like to get somewhere, but they don't know what they don't know. It's that simple. And the final one here is certainty. If you see that right there, certainty. So this one is also sort of self-explanatory, but I want to dive into it to help you really understand it in a full and true way so you can start thinking about how to use it in your business. So certainty is basically, they might have tried it themselves, but it didn't work, or they've gotten a little bit of results, but it's not really where they want it to be yet, or they failed over and over again, or whatever. It comes back to that same person who values their time over their money. Which, by the way, you can get somebody to value their time over their money by marketing to them properly, right? So this isn't a character trait. This is more of something you can influence in somebody. But certainty is basically they know where they want to get. They know why they want to get there. They want to be sure, completely sure that they will be able to get there. And so it's your job as the marketer and as the salesperson to deliver certainty to them, to say, this is the path we're going to take, and this is why it's going to get you to that end that you want. And this is why, in order to get to that end, you have to buy my thing. Making it almost non-optional, right? So certainty is one of the core motivators of humankind. You know, we are so security-driven, so many of us, and we're so risk-averse, so many of us. And so this works really well with, like, you know, business offers. This also works really well with health offers, relationship offers, like, you know, like I myself, you know, I didn't necessarily work with like sort of an internet coach, but I worked with like premarital counselors. And I recently got married, and we worked with premarital counselors to be certain of our decision in getting married, right? So we went to premarital counseling, and they worked through a bunch of stuff with us and asked us a bunch of hard questions. And I worked through like some really deeply rooted trauma, which that's definitely for another video. But you know, certainty is probably one of the core drivers of our decision making. Once we feel certain that what we're deciding to do will get us to where we want to get, and we can see the path ahead of us, we will more likely make a decision. And so certainty can be marketed to your audience or to your prospects by showing them the roadmap of what they're going to do in order to achieve the end, or telling them stories of students or clients that were like them that then got to where they say that they're wanting to get. Like, for example, one of my sales reps was on a call recently with a prospect, and the prospect is like a basketball coach. So he's been like a high school basketball coach for forever. And I was just kind of listening to the sales call, like in the other room, because my team was actually out. And I just slacked my team member. I said, hey, mention Greg. Like, Greg is a baseball coach, and he does like $25,000 a month. He joined our program at basically scratch. He'd worked with some students in person, and that's it, which is really cool. And I said, just mention Greg, like, you know, sport coach, similar angle and everything, similar background, used to be a high school teacher. I think that would probably push this guy over the ledge. And lo and behold, it did. You know, the guy was really skeptical before, but then we just mentioned this case study. And that's what pushed him over the ledge, and he paid him full, and he was like all about the program now. And so it's basically just, you know, giving them proof that they're not unlike your other clients, or they're not unlike you in the results that you've gotten. Or that you're basically breaking their false beliefs, that there's truly no reason why they couldn't do what your other students have done or what you've done. And then you're showing them the path that they're going to take to arrive there. So these are the 3 reasons why people buy coaching. Like I said, I'm going to read off the whiteboard. Speed, so they want to arrive at the end goal quicker, so they want to waste less time. Gap, which is they are aware that they aren't where they want to be, and they don't know what they don't know. Or certainty. So certainty is basically knowing for a fact that if they do this, they will reach the end. Even if it's going to be hard work, even if it's going to be a lot of frustration and daily inputs and grinding it out, they're at least certain. And certainty is one of the core motivators of human behavior, because we're so security driven. We want to know that what we're doing isn't, a waste. So these are the 3 reasons why people buy coaching. And if you do these things, in your marketing, you will make so much more money. It's stupid. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.